Every night, as the clock ticks past 10, the sound of the key turning in the lock echoes down the hallway. My wife, Elena, disappears into her office, leaving me with the flicker of the television and a growing sense of isolation. It's become her ritual, this mysterious seclusion, and every night, my curiosity grows sharper. Tonight, the silence in our home feels heavier, the secrets more tangible. As Elena prepares for bed, her earlier words replay in my mind, a casual but calculated comment, "I'll just finish up some work, love. Don't wait up." But tonight, I can't ignore the gnawing in my gut. With her soft footsteps receding, I stand, compelled by a sudden resolve. The dim light of the hallway guides me to the door of her office. Locked, as always. The cold metal of the doorknob against my palm feels like a rebuke, but tonight, I'm undeterred. In the back of the kitchen drawer, I find the spare key, its presence a reminder of the trust we once shared so freely. The door opens with a soft click, a sound too gentle for the betrayal it ushers in. Her office is steeped in shadows, the only light emanating from the street lamp outside, casting long, reaching fingers across the floor. My hands are unsteady as they search the desk, driven by a force I can barely understand. Then, in the back of the drawer, my fingers brush against something unexpected, soft, silicone, and unmistakably intimate. I pull out a collection of adult toys, each piece a silent testament to secrets I had never imagined. The air in the room thickens, choking me with the reality of her betrayal. As I stand there, reeling, the door behind me creaks open. "David? What are you doing?" Elena's voice is a mix of surprise and fear, not just caught, but exposed. I turn, the evidence in my hands. "What is this, Elena?" Her face pales, her eyes darting to the drawer, then back to me. It's not what you think. But it is, isn't it? The pieces fall into place, each toy a puzzle piece of her infidelity. Who is he? There's no one. Stop lying. My voice echoes, harsh and broken. How long, Elena? Her silence is all the confirmation I need. The foundation of our life together crumbles in the span of a heartbeat. "I'm sorry," she whispers, but the words are empty, falling flat in the dense air between us. The next days are a blur of cold silences and shuttered emotions. My heart hardens with each passing moment, the image of the toys etched behind my eyelids. I decide then, with a clarity that startles me, that forgiveness is a luxury I can't afford. Revenge becomes a dark seed, planted in the fertile soil of my pain. As I plan, every detail is meticulous, a mirror of the deception she mastered so well. I ruin her reputation, expose her secrets in whispers that become shouts in our small community. The divorce papers are just a formality, the final stroke in the portrait of my vengeance. On the day she leaves, her eyes search mine for something, perhaps a remnant of the love we once shared. But I am a stranger to her now, my heart a locked door, no key in sight. She drives away, and I stand in the doorway, the weight of my action settling like dust in the empty spaces she left behind. I've won, I suppose. But the victory is hollow, the triumph tainted by the cost. Sometimes, at night, I still hear the sound of the key turning in the lock. The days following Elena's departure bleed into one another, each indistinguishable from the last except for the whispers that follow me through the streets of our small town. The coffee shop where Elena and I once shared quiet mornings now serves up cold stares and murmured gossip along with its lattes. Today, as I push open the door, the usual hum of conversation stutters to a halt. Heads turn, some quickly looking away, others staring openly. I make my way to the counter, the weight of their eyes like hands pressing against my back. "Morning, David." "The usual?" Jenna, the barista, asks with a forced smile. "Yeah, thanks." I reply, trying to sound casual, but my voice feels thick. As Jenna prepares my coffee, I notice a couple at the corner table, their words hushed but urgent. I catch fragments of their conversation, can't believe she would. How could he do that to her? It's clear they're talking about us, about me. I take my coffee to go, escaping the oppressive air filled with judgment and suspicion. Outside, the The chill bites at my cheeks, a stark contrast to the heat of the shop. I walk without direction, the town's familiar sights now colored by the scandal. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "David!" I turn to see Tom, an old friend, jogging to catch up. His expression is a mix of concern and curiosity. "Hey, Tom. How's it going? We need to talk, man." His tone is serious, eyes searching mine. I nod, wary. We find a bench nearby, the metal cold through my jeans. "Look, I know it's tough right now, but I heard things are getting out of hand." "Is it true what they're saying?" "That you've been," Tom trails off, uncomfortable. "That I've been what?" "Taking revenge?" I meet his gaze, defiant. "She cheated, Tom." "What would you have done?" Tom sighs, looking out at the passing traffic. "I don't know, but maybe it's time to let things settle. People are talking, and it's not just about her anymore." I bristle at his words. "So, I should just pretend nothing happened?" "No, but there's a limit, man. You've made your point." As we talk, the realization that I might be losing control of the narrative begins to gnaw at me. What started as justified retribution might be morphing into something darker, something that could consume me. "Thanks for the advice, Tom. I'll think about it." I stand, leaving him on the bench, his concern still hanging in the air. Walking back home, I pass Elena's office, now just another room in our once shared home. Impulsively, I unlock the door and step inside. The desk where I found the toys that night is just as she left it, papers still scattered as if she might return at any moment to resume her work. I slide open the drawer again, half expecting to find something new, some other secret. It's empty, of course, but as I stare into the hollow space, a plan begins to form, a way to end this once and for all. If the town wants a villain, maybe I should give them one, but on my terms. Tonight, I'll make one last move, one that will silence the whispers and give me back control. I close the drawer with a resolute click, the sound a punctuation mark on my decision. As the sun sets, casting long shadows through the window, I prepare. Tonight's actions will echo long after the rumors fade, a final play in the game of betrayal and revenge. The evening air is crisp, a precursor to the impending storm. I pull my jacket tighter as I walk down Main Street, my steps resolute. Tonight, I aim to conclude this sordid chapter of my life with a bold stroke that will leave no room for doubt or debate. The town hall stands at the end of the street, its windows glowing warmly against the twilight. Tonight, it hosts the monthly community meeting, a perfect stage for my final act. As I approach, the muffled sounds of the ongoing meeting filter through the doors, voices raised in mundane local concerns that soon would be overshadowed. I push open the doors and step inside, the room hushing slightly as I enter. Heads turn, eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. I find a spot at the back, waiting for the right moment. Mayor Johnson is at the podium, discussing budget allocations. I watch him, my mind rehearsing what I am about to do. As he wraps up, he asks if there are any more points to discuss. This is my cue. I stand, my voice steady as I call out, "Yes, there's something I need to address." The room falls completely silent, all eyes on me. I walk to the front, every step ringing out on the wooden floor. "Many of you know why I'm here. You've heard the stories, whispered the rumors." I pause, my gaze sweeping over the crowd. "Yes, I took actions against my wife after her betrayal. But what you don't know is the full extent of her deceit." Murmurs ripple through the room, and I hold up a hand for silence. "I have here emails and messages," I say, pulling out a stack of papers, proof of not just her infidelity, but her plans to use our joint assets for her affair. The crowd shifts, discomfort and intrigue mingling in the air. I distribute the papers, watching faces change as they read. The evidence is damning, irrefutable. Mayor Johnson steps forward, his face a mask of concern. "David, this is a serious accusation. How do you want us to proceed?" "Justice," I reply firmly. I want an acknowledgement of her actions and the damage she's caused, not just to me but to our community's trust. A voice from the crowd cuts in. And what about your actions, David? Some might say you've gone too far. I turn to face the speaker, a middle-aged woman with stern eyes. Perhaps. But wouldn't you fight fire with fire? The room buzzes with tension, people exchanging glances, weighing my words against the proof before them. Mayor Johnson calls for order. We will need to discuss this further. But for now, let's take a moment to consider everything David has presented. As the meeting breaks into clusters of hushed conversations, I step back, a mixture of relief and exhaustion washing over me. I've played my hand, laid out everything. Now it was up to them. Stepping outside, the first drops of rain begin to fall, light at first, then growing in intensity. I walk through the downpour, the cold rain mingling with a sense of catharsis. The storm I'd walked into was now breaking around me, and as I leave the hall behind, I feel the first weight lift from my shoulders. Tonight, I might have regained some control, but the path ahead remains clouded, the outcomes uncertain. Yet, as the rain soaks through my clothes, a resolve solidifies within me, and not just to clear my name, but to rebuild, to find a way forward from the ruins of a past now fully exposed. The storm has passed, leaving a sharp chill in the air and a town shrouded in the aftermath of my revelations. The documents I distributed at the town hall meeting have ignited a firestorm of controversy, drawing lines that cannot be easily erased. Conversations around me now carry a different tone, a blend of shock, pity, and unease, but my focus remains unwavering. Today marks the endgame of my calculated retribution. I stand outside the local bar, the evening lights flickering dimly overhead, casting long shadows on the damp pavement. Inside, I know Tom and a few others from the town council are gathered, likely mulling over the fallout of my actions. Tonight, I confront one more traitor, the man who, until recently, I counted among my closest friends. Pushing the door open, I step into the smoky interior, my eyes scanning the familiar faces. The chatter dips as I make my way to where Tom sits, his back to me. Without a word, I pull out the chair across from him and sit down. Tom looks up, his expression a mixture of surprise and discomfort. David, what? Cut the pretenses, Tom. I know about you and Elena, I interrupt, my voice low and steady. The room falls silent, every ear straining. Tom's face pales, his mouth opening and closing without sound. David, I swear it's not what you think. You think I'm a fool? I slam my hand on the table, making the glasses clink. I've seen the messages, Tom. You were more than just her friend. Around us, the bar's patrons shift uncomfortably, their eyes darting between us. I'm sorry, David. It started when things between you two were already bad, Tom pleads, his voice cracking. You're sorry? I lean closer, my anger a palpable force. You helped her lie to me, and now you're going to pay. Tom stands abruptly, knocking his chair back. David, don't do this here. Let's talk outside. I nod sharply, standing to follow him out into the cool night air. The street is deserted, the quiet punctuated only by our footsteps as we move away from the bar. When we reach the darkened alley beside the building, I turn to face him. This is where it ends, Tom. My voice is cold, devoid of the friendship that once colored our interactions. Tom raises his hands, a feeble attempt at defense. Please, think about this. Before he can finish, I lunge forward, my movements fueled by betrayal and pent-up rage. The fight is brief but intense, my every strike a release of the years of deception I endured. When it's over, Tom lies motionless, the consequences of his betrayal etched into the outcome. Breathing heavily, I step back, looking down at the ruin of a man who was once my confidant. The final piece of my revenge is in place, but there is no satisfaction in it, only the bitter taste of ashes. As I walk back towards the main street, the silence around me feels oppressive. I realize that this path I've chosen has not led to redemption, but has spiraled into darkness. The cost of my vengeance is clear, and as I leave the town behind, the broken relationships and shattered trust looming in my wake, I know there is no return. Elena and I, along with everything we once shared, are now just remnants of a past too painful to revisit. Our parting is forever, marked not by fond memories, but by a mutual hatred of betrayal, a final, cruel irony in the tale of our lives.